Javier, what was really interesting in that report was also that OPEC's going to need to keep those supply cuts at least till 2021 to avoid any surplus. What's the chatter on the ground right here?
Well, it's a bad reaction for OPEC from that report. They really wake up some of the officials here in Houston attending the CEDAW Week annual conference, and the reaction is of disbelief because OPEC, when they started cutting production in 2016, remember that initially were thinking about cutting only for 6 months. Then that was extended, and now they have the production cuts until the end of 2018. But if the International Energy Agency is right, and I believe that many people here in Houston and the U.S. shale industry think that if anything probably is being a bit short of the expectations, then OPEC cannot exit those production cuts until 2021, is what some oil analysts are talking about, lower forever for OPEC production.
Lower forever. Well, that's a new slogan. Julian, what could wind up helping OPEC? What could alleviate some of that pressure for them to extend till 2021?
I think there are two things that OPEC has to hope for. One of them is a continuation of rampant oil demand growth. One of the things that the International Energy Agency shows is oil demand growth beginning to ease as we go through this period. So on the one hand, OPEC's got to hope that that doesn't happen. The other thing I think that it has to hope for is that non-OPEC supply doesn't perform in the way that the International Energy Agency says it will. The bulk of the growth that the organization is forecasting comes from the United States. There are also positive contributions from Canada, from Brazil, and even as you sort of move out through the period, from the North Sea as well. So there are hopes there. One thing that may slow down somewhat the growth of U.S. shale production is the import tariff that is being talked about on steel. The steel that is needed in the oil industry is a very particular type of product. It's not the same steel that you make, refrigerators and other goods like that out of. It's a very specific commodity, and it is not made in sufficient quantity in the US to meet demand if imports are more expensive, and any raised costs will get passed through to producers.